Okay, this really is just a bit of fun, nothing serious, but as Behringer have released its 2XM, which is based on the 1975 Oberheim 2-voice, and almost simultaneously, GForce have released this, their TV2 Pro, another 2-voice SEM, which is based on the 2-voice Pro from 2015, not the vintage unit like the Behringer, but it is another 2-voice SEM. And in my recent demo of the 2XM, enough people commented that they'd like to hear the difference between this and the software options. So I thought I'd put these alongside the GForce SEM, the Oberhausen from Plug-in Alliance, the Arturia SEM-V, and the Cherry Audio version, which incidentally is the only free version here. So if we were given points, that will get infinite bonus points from an is it worth it perspective. But yeah, software and hardware fulfill completely different roles. So as a comparison, it doesn't really make much sense unless you concentrate on the raw tones, which is what I'm going to do here, because obviously the hardware is great for integrating with the Aurax system and tweaking live and all that, whereas software has got so many more benefits. The TVS Pro, for example, has got hundreds of amazing presets. They all do. I'm not going to have a play on any of these here because I've already set up everything for this demo, but these all make use of things like the dual sequencer and the effects. We've got a phaser, we've got a delay, we've got a reverb. But yeah, this one is the only one that's got a pair of SEMs like the Behringer, but they've all got their own take on it. The Arturia, for example, has got polyphony and an 8-voice programmer, so you can play the 8 voices in round robin. You can have different tuning and parameters on each of the voices, so it does act very much like a little sequencer. And you've got a load of modulation options that you get with the Arturia V collections. And it's got effects, an overdrive, a chorus, and a delay. And just so I'm not leaving it out, the original SEM from GForce comes with a third oscillator, extra LFO, and velocity and aftertouch options. So yeah, so as a strict comparison, it's a bit nonsensical unless you're sticking to the raw tones, which I'm assuming is what attracts people to the SEM sound in the first place, not things like effects, modulation options, and sequences. They're just handy to have. So I'm just going to play through some sawtooths, play with a low pass filter, add some resonance, and listen to some dual oscillator tones to get a flavour of the characters. I'm not going to go through everything because I think this gives enough of an overall idea about how they all sound. I'll start off with a simple sawtooth so we can hear that raw tone. I'll just go through them all and see what we've got. I've tried to level them all at -12. So if we go to the GForce SEM to start with, TVS Pro, Oberhausen, Arturia SEM, and the Cherry Audio. Brightest of the bunch by far, isn't it? That is free, so it does get forgiven for not being identical. And then we got the Behringer. Behringer is brighter than the emulations. So, go back to the GForce SEM. TVS Pro. Oberhausen. Sounds a bit lively. Arturia SEM. Again, some little wobble and movement in that, isn't there? Quite nice. And the Cherry Audio. Bit of movement in that as well. We don't have the 4x oversampling on the synthesizer expander module from Cherry Audio, but as I said before, it is free. I won't keep on flicking through these graphics here because it gets very confusing for me. So if you look here, you can see which one I'm clicking up there in the Logic screen. So you'll see which one I'm playing. And when we get down to 6, that's the Behringer. So, you know, you're not going to hear too much with a simple sawtooth, are you? So let's start playing with the filter. So we'll whack the resonance all the way up on each of them. And we shouldn't be getting any drop Although we're getting that little kick on the top end when we do with each of them, which is what you'd expect. Arturia does it a little bit lower than the others. And on the Cherry Audio, we get a real drop at the 20 kHz. Not that you can hear that at all, but it is just a minor difference. And then over on the Behringer. So let's drop the frequency. That is rather nice, isn't it? So let's try that on the SEM from GForce. I'm using my trackpad here on the MacBook Pro, so I'm not doing things as precisely as I would if we had all our controllers set up, but it still sounds nice. I'm trying to stop them all at around 3.2, is it? I'll do it in a minute. I had to set all that up earlier, but never mind. Oh, that's got more resonance down there, hasn't it? Yeah, and the Arturia. These are all really nice, aren't they? Didn't go all the way to the bottom there. Let's bring it all the way down. Ooh, hello. Cherry Audio again. Really impressed by the Cherry Audio considering it's free, but they're all nice, aren't they? They're all slightly different, but wouldn't say in any way that's particularly bad or really wrong. Okay, I've tried to match the frequency here of the VCF at about 3.17 on all of them. So there's a big difference there between the SEM and the TVS Pro, isn't there? Bit more release on that. Then the Oberhausen. Arturia. Let's just bring that decay down as well. Cherry Audio. Doesn't sound quite as lively up there. And then the Behringer. So. What I find interesting there is a lot of people said that the Behringer wasn't as resonant as the hardware in my initial demo of it, but listening to these, I know these aren't the hardware, but GForce are bang on it when they come to their emulations. The Behringer's actually a little bit more spiky than that. Plug-in Alliance are also known for their really close emulations. So it sits with them really well. Yeah, the GForce 7's a little bit less, as is the TVS Pro, Oberhausen, Arturia, Cherry Audio, and the Behringer. These are all really, really good, I think. So let's bring in a second oscillator. That's all I'm going to do. I think it gives a good overview of what all the different softwares do. I think they all sound very similar. These are all really good software companies. They all make great stuff. They all sound very close. If anyone starts screaming at one of them sounds completely different, I don't believe you anymore. But you do have to sit with these things and play with them to really, really understand them. And you can't really do that to shoot at between 7 different things on YouTube. But do they have the raw tone? Does the filter do what you expect it to do? Do the oscillators beat like you expect them to do it? Has it got that rawness to it, to the tone? Does it lose any bass when you kick up the resonance? They're all acting very, very similar. So the choice of which one you want to buy really depends on what you've already got. If, for example, you do the Plug-in Alliance subscription, well, you might not want to splash out any more money on the Arturia, or you might just want to get the Cherry Audio, or you might want 2 voices, in which case get the TVS Pro from GForce, or you want effects, or you want sequencers, that sort of stuff, or you want a bit of hardware that you can plug in to everything else in your studio. But do they all have a similar character? I would say yes. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, do all the things, subscribe, ring the bell, join me on Patreon. And if you're going to buy one of these, do click on the affiliate links, because it does help to support the channel. Thanks for staying to the very end. I know that was a little short one, but I thought it was interesting enough to bother sticking together. So I will see you next time.